Welcome to Overcoming Obstacles Through Positive Thinking by Teresa Hill-Putnam. Believe in the fairy tale. When I was a little girl, my parents taught me to dream big dreams. I dreamed of being a princess. I dreamed of living in a fairy tale. I even dreamed that I could talk to animals. I truly believed that I could be or do anything I set my mind to. I think my desire for success stemmed from these childhood beliefs. I wasn't scared to try new things because I knew that I could make it happen. As a child, I loved school. I got good grades. I had many friends. I won lots of awards. I was a successful dancer, and I was able to accomplish everything I set my mind to. I started my first business at the age of 14. I graduated at the top of my class. I got married and bought my first house at the age of 18. I thought I had everything figured out. I got pregnant about 9 months after we got married, at the age of 19. As my pregnancy went on, my then husband became more and more abusive toward me. It started as verbal and emotional abuse and then turned physical. My fairy tale was shattered. I was scared for my life and the life of my new baby. When she was 10 days old, I took my baby girl and fled in the middle of the night. We went to live with my parents. After a brutal divorce, I was finally able to move on and start the healing process. My fairy tale was not lost. It was just delayed. When my daughter was 3 years old, I got married again. This time, I married a man that I had been best friends with since the 7th grade. Within a few months of us getting married, we bought a house and I started a new business. A year later, we had a baby boy. My new husband even adopted my little girl. We were happy. 5 years later, however, everything started changing. In addition to being a wife and mother, I had been working about 60 hours a week at my performing arts school that had grown to have approximately 700 students with 9 full-time employees. My health had been slowly declining for several years, and I finally got so sick that I did not have the strength to even get out of bed. I often was so weak that I could not roll over or feed myself. I struggled to breathe, chew, and swallow. My symptoms changed day by day. My doctors calculated that my sickness was caused by stress, but couldn't quite figure it out. After 18 months of being in and out of the hospital, I was diagnosed with a rare, chronic neuromuscular disease called myasthenia gravis. Upon my diagnosis, my neurologist told me to quit my job and go on disability. This was a huge blow to the fairy tale life that I had always dreamed about. Unwilling to give up, I fired that doctor and found one that could help me. I was put on lots of medications, had surgery to remove my thymus gland, and started learning everything that I could about how to cope with my disease. Living with a chronic illness is difficult on the entire family. When I got sick, my husband started drinking more alcohol to help him cope. Our marriage suffered. When I expressed my frustrations to him, I was told repeatedly that my dreams of a fairy tale life did not exist. I started to believe it. This was over 20 years ago. Since then, I had another child, got a divorce, and became a single working mom. Living in survival mode with only a limited amount of energy, I started dreaming smaller dreams. I started settling for things that were not as great as I really wanted them to be. I knew what I wanted in life, but I started believing that my dreams were not attainable. I stopped believing in myself. It was easier to do the same thing over and over than it was to take new chances or make drastic changes in my life. I'm not saying that I did not enjoy the past 20 years, but I did just what I had to do to raise my children and survive. You know, every once in a while, in the middle of an ordinary day, life throws us a curveball. COVID was a huge curveball for me. Since I have myasthenia gravis, I am at high risk to have complications if I contract COVID. Because I am on immunosuppressant medications, I've had to be extremely careful around other people, even before COVID. Running a performing arts school and teaching groups of children in person has become too risky for me. I've had to make some changes in my career over the past few years in order to stay well. After 37 years of teaching in person, I've had to learn how to teach and operate my business mostly online. So, here I am now. My 2 oldest children are married and have kids of their own. My youngest daughter, now 17, recently graduated from high school. For the first time in 20 years, I have decided to make a huge change in my life. I believe that everything happens for a reason. It is time to stop doing the same thing every day just because it is easy and safe. I just moved to Los Angeles with my teenage daughter to help her build her acting and music career. Instead of teaching in-person classes, I am now only teaching virtually. I am writing more, coaching more, planning more, and dreaming more. Our life in LA is an adventure, full of new experiences. It is definitely exciting. Meeting new people and learning our way around a new city is a bit scary, but we are taking it one day at a time, and we are thoroughly enjoying our time together. We are ready to start living the fairy tale. Fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. Anyone who tells you that a fairy tale is not real just hasn't found it yet, or they have settled for less. That's their story, not yours. Dare to dream. Take risks. Let yourself believe in a happy ending. To all of those who no longer believe in fairy tales, you are the writer of your own story. Keep your chin up and straighten your crown. You are the ruler of your kingdom, and only you know how to rule it. Thank you for listening to Overcoming Obstacles Through Positive Thinking. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Be fearless.